Welcome to Threaded Minds, Law and Beyond with Suhaib Zada. This podcast is your space to explore the intersections of law, business, personal growth, and modern life. I'm your host, Suhaib Zada. This is Threaded Minds, where every thread leads to a story and every story sparks a new idea. Hello and welcome to Threaded Minds, Law and Beyond. I'm Suhaib Zada, your host. This is our very first episode, and I can't tell you how excited I am to finally sit down and record this. Let me start by telling you a little about myself. My name, as you know, is Suhaib Zada. I'm a legal professional, practitioner, and educator, and someone who has always been curious about the world. For years, I've been fascinated by the threads that connect our lives. Law, business, personal growth, the way we learn, how to acquire a new language, the way we succeed, the way we fail. That curiosity is what inspired this podcast and the whole idea of launching my own podcast. Starting Threaded Minds feels like stepping into uncharted territory for me. It's exciting, for sure, but it's also nerve-wracking. You know that feeling when you are about to try something new and it feels like a leap of faith? That's where I am right now. However, but I wanted you to understand that I wanted to do this because I believe in one thing: meaningful conversations. I believe in sharing knowledge, learning from others, and creating a space where we can grow together. Whether you are from a legal background, a business management background, or even psychology. So, in this first episode of this show, I'm going to tell you what Threaded Minds is all about, what you can expect from this podcast, and why I think this podcast matters. Not just for me, but for you too. So, what to expect in this podcast? I want to tell you that Threaded Minds is designed to be a mix of three things: inspiration, education, and real talk. And here's what you can expect. First, we are gonna talk about legal topics. However, I want to make something very clear. This is not gonna be a dry legal lecture. We will unpack the law in a way that makes it practical, relatable, and interesting. I know many of you might be interested in practicing law privately, or going in-house, or for example working for an institution. We're gonna cover career strategies, tips and ideas of how to transfer your legal career. I'll show you how the law impacts our life, our business, our decisions in ways that you may not even realize. Second of all, we will cover career strategies, professional growth. Let us face it, the world is changing fast. Whether you're a student, a professional, someone looking to change their career, there is so much to learn about navigating these changes and adapting to the modern world's needs. I want to share tools, advice, and stories to help you grow. Then there is business and entrepreneurship, a major part of this podcast. I'm working on a startup myself, so I know firsthand how challenging and rewarding it can be to have your own business, to have that feeling of independence, autonomy. We will explore what it takes to start something, how to cover setbacks, and why entrepreneurial journey is worth it. Finally, we will dive into personal growth, personal development. As all of you know, life is not just about work, it's about who we are becoming in the process. I'll share stories about resilience, self-discipline, and lessons I've learned. like what running 2 marathons and 1/2 marathon taught me about pushing past limits. And here I want to add the clarification. It's not just about running, it's about showing up for yourself, even when it's very hard. You can expect in this podcast a mix of solo episodes, where it's just me sharing ideas, insights, or early morning talks. And you can expect also guest interviews, where we will hear from people who have done incredible things, not just in law, no, in all kinds of fields. My goal is for every episode is to leave you with something you can use, whether it's a new perspective, a practical tip, or just the motivation to keep going, pushing beyond the limits. So, one might say, okay, why does this podcast matter? Why do you believe it's an important show? Why I should spend time here? To answer that, I would say thank you so much for this question. I need to take you back a little bit. I've been always someone who loves to learn. I'm the kind of person who listens to podcasts, read books, and seeks out conversations that challenge me. But I noticed something, that there are so many podcasts out there, and for sure some of them are very beneficial, some of them help me personally and professionally, some of them entertain. However, I felt like there is a huge need for more podcasts or shows that could teach or inspire, could make a positive change, could share knowledge, could help others to grow, cover a wide range of topics, combine the legal knowledge with other life skills. So that's why I wanted to change with Threaded Minds. I wanted to create a space where we don't just talk for the sake of talking. No, we talk to grow, to learn, and to connect the dots between law, life, and everything in between. Let me share a quick story about why this is personal for me. A couple of years ago, I decided to run a full marathon. And I had no idea of what I was getting into. This is my first marathon in my entire life. The training was grueling, complicated, and there were so many moments where I wanted to quit. I didn't want it to complete. It's very difficult to wake up in the morning at 6 a.m. and to go to run to run outdoors for a couple of kilometers or hours, and sometimes you have to do intervals and long runs, and to run for a very long hour, and sometimes you don't have the motivation, the weather might be cold. So yeah, for sure it was very tough. But crossing, I had the picture of me when I crossed the finish line. And that crossing of the finish line taught me something. I realized that the hardest things in life are often the most rewarding. If it wasn't hard, no one would have pursued that path. Or if it wasn't hard, everyone would pursue that path. However, it's very hard. That's why it's not for everybody. It's for the motivated people, for the people with goodwill and determination who want to make a change. That's what this podcast is about. It's about tackling hard topics, having honest conversations, and pushing ourselves to grow. Right? And let me be clear. This is not just for legal professionals. Sure, my background is in law. I have a bachelor degree in law, 2 master's degree, one is about to be done very soon, from Canada. And I'll bring that perspective. My major is mostly in corporate law, financial law, securities law. But the lessons we talk about here is much more bigger. Resilience, decision making, personal growth, which are universal. Whether you are a lawyer, an entrepreneur, or just someone trying to figure out your next step, this podcast is for you. Threaded Minds is for you. And here's the thing. I don't have all the answers. Let me say it clearly. I'm learning too. This podcast is as much for me as it is for you. I want to learn from our guests, from your feedback, and from the process of creating this together. So what's next? In the next episode, we are jumping right into the deep end. I don't want to spoil too much, but I have an incredible guest lined up, and they are someone who has achieved success in a way that's inspiring and packed with lessons we can all learn from. And I promise you it's gonna be worth tuning in. So stay tuned for the next episodes. In the episodes to come, we will cover topics that matter. We will have solo episodes before we have our own guests. And in the upcoming episodes, we'll cover practical tools for your career to stories of resilience and growth. And we'll cover some legal topics as well. Every episode is designed to leave you with something valuable, something positive. You will hear about navigating or exploring change, building a meaningful career, and balancing ambition with self-care. You will hear from people who have done extraordinary things, successful backgrounds or careers, and from me as I share what I'm learning along the way. Before we wrap up, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for giving this podcast a chance, and thank you for being here. Starting a Threaded Minds wasn't easy for me. My hope is that this podcast becomes more than just a podcast. I want it to be a community, a place where we learn from each other, inspire each other, and grow together. If you enjoyed this first foundational episode, I would love for you to subscribe, share this podcast with a friend, a colleague, or anyone who might find value in these episodes. And if you have ideas, questions, or feedback, please reach out. This podcast is as much your podcast as it is mine. So here is to learning, growing, and exploring the threads that connect us. So, until next time, take care, stay curious, and keep moving forward. This is Suhaib Zada, and you're listening to Threaded Minds. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in to Threaded Minds, Law and Beyond. I hope today's episode offered valuable insights and inspired new ideas. Stay part of the conversation by following us on Instagram and sharing your thoughts. We always appreciate hearing from you. Remember to leave a review and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform, whether it's Spotify or Apple Podcast, so you never miss an episode. Join me next time as we continue exploring the threads that connect law, business, and life. Until then, this is Suhaib Zada. See you on Threaded Minds.